Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling coherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Tyranny blind. I am going to travel back to the mountain spire because I need to talk to Tarkis-Ari. Shattered Bastion is where the sages are, supposedly. But first, let me go back to Tarkis-Ari and discuss my next move. Fatebinder, I've been meaning to thank you for your help at Lettian's Crossing. Work at the forge has renewed, and we will soon have the finest arms and armor for this coalition of yours. Provided you keep Lettian's Crossing safe from the other Archons, we will entertain the challenge of arming whatever motley you manage to assemble. All arms in the tiers will mean little if there's no one to wield them. I suggest we pursue the Unbroken as our next ally. They have done irreparable harm to the disfavored with salvaged weapon. Imagine what they could do with Kairos' own iron. Sound reasoning, but this coalition has more its share of brawn and precious little intellect, no offense. We need Arcanist support to carry this fight. I have worked with the Earthshakers in the past, and I don't think it would take much to convince them to jump ship. If they left the disfavored, it would weaken Ash's army and straighten ours by no small margin. There is a symbolic victory in winning over the Archon's loyal servants to our cause, and if they know magic, that's a tactical advantage we can't ignore. If we're certain the Earthshakers won't stay loyal to the disfavored and strike us from within, then perhaps this is the right course of action. Why don't we try to recruit both? Oh, we could certainly try, assuming they are willing to share the same tent, and assuming other powers don't get to them first. In the time we should seek to gather as many allies as we can, but our top representative can't be in two places at once, so whom do you wish to approach first? What value do the Unbroken provide? The people of Stalwart have battle in the blood. As much as it kills me to admit, I've heard several sources that the disfavored consider the Unbroken almost worthy as far as adversaries go. If the disfavored begrudgingly respect their prowess, that says a lot. And more importantly, like the Vendrien GUard, the Unbroken still openly defy Kairos. Even the Edict of Storm has not completely silenced their will. Anyone that is determined to fight will make a strong addition to our cause. What might the Earthshaker Guild offer our coalition? Though the Earthshakers aren't a very large group, their spells to shape, move and destroy stone would be an extraordinary boon to your coalition and an important advantage to deny the disfavored. I feel it unwise to surround ourselves with mystics, especially ones drawn from our enemies. We need more warm bodies to defend our holdings. That said, it would be indeed stealing from our enemies to strengthen ourselves, and I can't argue with a sound strategy like that. The Earthshakers are sworn to fight with the disfavored. Do you have any notion of how we could convince them to turn? With Cairn's demise, Radix is their new leader, but Isadora, his close associate, is like the old Archon of Stone, stubborn and independent, and her mindset is hardly uncommon among her peers. I know for a fact the loss of Earth Mages that lots of Earth Mages consider Cairn their master, not Kairos or Asher, a sentiment kept quiet, but one we could exploit to cleave them from the herd. We would need them to give the compelling reason to risk Asher's wrath, but it's important to note that the Earthshakers are magical allies to the disfavored, and nothing more. Save for a few exceptions, they do not share family ties that bind the Legion. What else should I know about the Blade Grave? The Unbroken show incredible persistence to remain in the area. It seems that they will not give up their country while any of them yet stand. I cannot even imagine how they've endured that long. The Edict of Storm stares at the ruins of Old Stalwart, so prepare to grit yourself against an onslaught of dust and debris. Now more than ever, it's a harsh, unforgiving territory. What of the burning library? Could we seek help there? We had a few sages join our cause. They fought with us and died during the siege. From what they've told me, the burning library is abandoned, save for a few chorus gangs, looting for what's left of the place. There might be a few stragglers in the ruins, but we need more than just a few volunteers. We need an army. I will send another pair of scouts to see if we can make contact with the sage's leadership, whatever is left of it. But for now, let's focus on known quantities. I am a bit torn, because I recognize the value of, the Unbroken are tiersmen, and they have a vested direct interest to fight Kairos. I feel like they would have excellent morale, and it would also help the Vendrien GUard to know that they have some of their own countrymen besides them in battle. But I think, once again, I am going to go for the Earthshakers for the simple reason that it not only strengthens me, it also weakens my enemies, whereas the Unbroken are fighting the disfavored as it is, without my interference. Sure, they might eventually lose if we don't link up, but they are still doing that. So I think I will go for the Earthshakers. They sound like our best bet. I will aim to recruit them. Then you should make contact with a member of their guild as soon as possible. Any soldier operating under Graven Ash's command is in danger of enraging the locals, and the Earthshakers are presently separated from the main disfavored force. The vulnerability of the mages could make them more receptive to our offer. We may never get a better chance to turn them. If we're going to win them over, start by making contact with my friend Isadora. When we last exchanged missives, she was near Halfgate and may still be there. Since the stone sea is crawling with the chorus, I would imagine Isadora might forgo the traditional Earthshaker garb. We always told each other if we had to speak about dire matters and worried about being observed, we would use the phrase, "I'd sell my left arm for some sableroot wine," and reply with, "Sorry, I shared the last of mine with the beasts," if it's safe to talk. Find her, help her if you can, and do whatever you can to bring them around. We'll be here gathering our strength and setting up forges for the coalition. Best of luck. Anything to add? Ari nods in your direction. If you have any questions, feel free to voice them now. How are the Vendrien GUard doing? Bringing some order to the well has given us opportunity to regroup and consider our priorities. When we get right down to it, our collective is only as old as the second year of Kairos' invasion. We have a lot of room to grow, but our roots are planted in shallow soil. We agree that Kairos' forces must unconditionally withdraw from the tiers, but that is starting to look like our only point of firm accord. She frowns. It's a good thing we've galvanized the rest of the tiers to strike back, but because what we have on our own wouldn't carry this rebellion without help. Coming from a place of disadvantage makes your story inspiring. I would cleave to that. You're right. Here I stand doubting our chances, but the people have taken hope from our meager rebellion. That has to mean something, right? She smiles at you. Thanks for the kind words. It must feel strange inviting Tunon's servant into the fold. She flashes an anxious smile. It was a gamble, but I would say you've exceeded our expectations so far. Keep it up, and maybe one of those days I'll sleep through the night. Her tone dips as she struggles to meet your gaze. I probably don't say this enough, but the fact that you're part of Tunon's court has done more for the rebellion than any number of swords or shields. It shows the people that Kairos' offensive is weaker than they think. The Archons don't have their affairs in order, and the conquest they thought so close to be finished is splitting at the seams. So thank you. When we tell our grandchildren about how we almost bowed to a tyrant's rule, you will always be the one who steered the course of the events for the better. No matter what happens next, that much will hold true. Okay, Tunon wants a status report. And also, word reached the court that you have dealt with the seditious mercenaries claiming for themselves the mantle of defenders of Lethian's Crossing. You have the gratitude of both myself and the Overlord. The disruptions in the settlement have stymied the production of iron goods for the war effort. Forge Master Xenia personally thank you for your intervention. She further informed me of your arrangement with her. So long as you remain loyal to the Overlord's law, I see no conflict of interest in one of my vassals taking a role of leadership over one of my sworn guilds. Take care not to abuse that role. Again, this makes no sense. Like, what does this game think it's doing? And what does it think I'm doing? Lethian's Crossing is garrisoned by Oathbreakers who wear actual Vendrien GUard insignia. And here Tunon is thanking me for upholding the laws of the Overlord while I recruit yet more people for a rebellion against him. Like, is he dumb? Or what? Like, I don't get it. Status report. You are to report to the Bastard City at once. Be prompt, let I mistake your tardiness for reluctance. Sure, I might do it. I survived the last time, so, and clearly he isn't as bright as he thinks he is. Send a confirmation. As you request, I will appear in court in good time.
On it.
But I will also do some research in the other spire. Oh, received a missive from the Voices of Nerad. Now that's interesting. Fuel for the Flame. Dear Fatebinder, champion of Tunon's Gavel, slayer of choirmen, we hope you recognize that we bear you no ill will. We understand treachery. Who understands treachery, if not the Archon of Secret? We always held the highest esteem for the work of other specialists in the art of the duplicitous. Make no mistake, dear Fatebinder, after your little performance at Vengeance Well, and with such a flair for theatrical illumination, you have ascended in our estimate. We trust you will understand when we peel the flesh from your bones and squeeze the bile from your quivering innards. It is strictly out of artistic integrity and the courtesy owed a fellow professional, nothing personal at all, but enough about our friendly rivalry. Do you enjoy the company of our little spy? Her dance never fails to inspire us to inspire in us the most pleasant quivers. We have a gift for her, delivered through you, due to the girl's questionable faculty with letters. We have learned from one of the birds that a mercenary in Haven has been absolutely gloating about slaying her sisters. His boasts even secured him work defending some crossing merchant. Show her the sigils on the reverse, she'll know what they mean. And the opposite of the page contains several rough, ink-scratched symbols that look like nothing more than a child's pictographs of their favorite animals. Well, let's inquire further. More information. I doubt, he will only give me as much as he wants, but more information is always good. Archon of Secrets. No doubt you intended your message to elicit violence and chaos. That's standard for you. However, I'm left to wonder, what else do you hope to accomplish? What else can I do? Receiving your message was an unexpected pleasure. I shall see to it that Verse is informed. Doubtless this will end in blood. I don't know yet what you have planned for Verse, but I promise to unravel it. As you watch your little plot collapse on itself, imagine what it'll do, what I'll do to your grandest designs before I bring my blades to you. With all due respect, shove off. No. Let's probe for more information. I doubt it's going to do anything, but... Okay, let's take Verse for a bit then. It's been a while since I traveled with her.
Couldn't help but notice the bird from Cacophony.
Verse smirks as you approach, scrutinizing you with her mismatched gaze. How do you know where the bird came from?
The voiceless birds have a certain hollowness to their movements, like puppets, or the fifth eye.
She chuckles, running a hand down her hair feathers.
But seriously, what's the boss want from us now?
The Voices of the Rat is not my boss.
I didn't say he was. What climbed up your spire and died?
He thinks he found one of your sister's killers.
Wait, what? He found one of the shits who killed my Furies? Let's pack up and go.
There's something else, those strange symbols on the back.
There's a lot to love about spycraft. The trickery, the blade work, keeping your senses awake, balancing on the edge between confusion and discovery. Memorizing the Archon's childish pictographs is not my favorite part.
She examines the parchment, frowning.
Malfora. She's one of Harshion's people. Bit boring, but gossipy in the way that pays. We should be able to find her along the road to Lethian's Crossing.
And she's just going to trust us.
The voices gave us the passphrases that will get Malfora to open up to us. When we find her, let me do the talking and everything should run smooth as sea glass.
She rubs her hands together.
This will feel good, Finder. Wildly, incredibly, stupidly good.
The Archon's sudden interest in your revenge doesn't seem suspicious to you?
Are you asking me if I trust the voices of Nerat? Archon of Secrets, Spy Master, Arcane Pillar of Green Smoke and Flame, Immortal Magician, Eater of Minds, and Connoisseur of Perversions? Of course not. But if it's some convoluted trap, I'll have your back and you'll have mine, right?
Okay, let's go.
Lead the way!
Our gang is building quite a little collection of spires, aren't we? The Voices of Nerat was never one for keeping strongholds, but I can definitely see the appeal. Why doesn't the Voices like strongholds? Because there's no point in standing still. The Voices prefers to keep his forces busy and on the move, with only restful hours between dusk and dawn. Besides, fighters in motion are less likely to rise up and challenge authority. Safety in numbers, but once you get people hunkering down to discuss their problems, suddenly everyone has a reason to kill the closest gang boss. What do you think of the Spires? They are big, but make no mistake, a determined army could knock one down if they had enough shovels and picks together. Don't be so quick to assume that you're invincible. As to what they are, I tried not to ask those sort of questions. I had questions for you.
What do you need?
What do you think of Sirin, actually?
What did you have in mind? Well, if you're baiting me for a compliment, you're talking to the wrong girl. I don't have a gang anymore, and I wouldn't throw in my lot with any of the killers floating around the Scarlet Chorus ranks. The fact of the matter is you're doing important work, even if you stumble and flail along the way.
That's not what I wanted to click, actually.
If that puts me at odds with my Scarlet Chorus ties, so be it.
What do you think of Sirin? Take this in the spirit in which it's intended. If I had her kind of power at that age, the last thing I would do is take orders from you. You may think you're leading her around, but it might be the opposite. Would any of us even know the difference? All I need to know about Sirin is that she scares Kairos. That pretty much says it all. What do you think about kills in shadow? I've been watching her fight. She's fierce in a way that Scarlet Chorus could use to our advantage. We tried to conscript the Beastmen in the past. but results have been less than successful. In truth, the results have been ugly. It's tough to capture something that a net won't hold, and often as not, we either have to talk her kind into conscripting or murder enough of them that only the weak are left.
Go ahead, Fatebinder.
I find myself in need of an accomplished killer.
And I seem to be missing a game. We're well matched, you and I.
I will return to our holdfast at once.
Increases weapon damage. After a kill, Verse will strike 3 times with her attacks for a time. Sure.
Yes.
But I wanted to travel to the other spire to command them to do some research. And what's the status of your research? I'm happy to say we've made great progress. Hierarch's robes. They found a few fragments that mentioned a set of robes that were known to increase the magical aptitude of the wearer. Your sages believe that a skilled tailor may be able to recreate them. Okay, I need a forge upgrade. Research something. Research sigil scrolls. Sure, it seems interesting. Okay, so I'll travel back, Merchant's Crossing. I'll travel back to the Bastard City for now, because Tunon probably doesn't like to wait. After a few hours of travel in an area with dense undergrowth, you happen across a small stream where you can refill your water skins and wash the sweat from your brow. Nearby, you spot a large copse of narrow trees with leaf-bearing vines coiling around their trunks. As the vines snake upwards, dozens of thin, yellowish-green stems spring forth from the plantain, some of them stiff and upright, others drooping downwards like long hairs. At the end of each, an explosion of bright orange berries radiate outright, ripe and abundant. To your eye, they appear to be bristleberries. These are a very distinctive fruit, nutritious and energizing, but they are also, unfortunately, exceedingly similar to bristlebane, a berry that is tolerated by the beastmen and animals, but rather toxic to humans. Well, look closer. Clustered together in tight droplets, the berries vary from bright orange to yellowish orange, the size of which varies slightly between bristleberry and bristlebane, but it's very difficult to determine without the two side by side. Examine the leaves. The leaves extending are bright and lobed, with edges resembling undulating hills. This matches an old saying you recall about the berries: leave the hills safe from chills. No, leaves like hills, safe from chills. Leaves like rain, unending pain. And these berries appear to be safe. Appear to be safe, you say? Like, it would be pretty stupid if I died due to eating some random berries. What do they even do, if they are the correct ones? Nutritious and energizing. What would rubbing them against my skin do? Like, I guess... Let's do that for the lols. Rub them against your skin. Better to test against your skin rather than your stomach. You break off a cluster and mash the berries between your fingers, revealing the tiny pits inside. Working in slow circles, you rub them against your arm. Your skin remains free of any stinging rash, which you take as a good sign. To be honest, a reasonable person that wasn't sure if you should eat something would just go away, but I am going to eat them because this is a game. You adopt the cautious approach, filling your pouches with berries while eating only a single cluster. The fruit is sweet and tart, surprisingly juicy for its size, and the thought of immediately eating another is tantalizing, but you restrain yourself. With the stream as your guide, you cut the follow dense forest and eventually reach the main road. The rush of sugar and euphoria puts a spring in your step. Certain you spotted your edible berry from the toxic, you tear into your pouches and devour the berries, invigorated by every bite. Satisfied, you bound down the road, revitalized for the journey to come. Received a message from Tunon. Excellent, we await your return.
I got it.
You return as summoned, despite the weight of responsibility on your shoulders. The court appreciates your devotion to our good work. It should come as no surprise that your activities are closely monitored. As an extension of Kairos' law in the frontier, your progress is a topic of some interest. I sent you on a mission to bring order to the chaos of this civil war. Not enough time has passed for me to expect any significant progress, but I am curious about your findings all the same. I want to make sure your time outside the court's shadow is being used effectively. It sounds as if the dissident factions of the tiers hold you in some esteem. Be wary of tightening your bonds with the southern savages. We are meant to rule these people, not walk among them. If your activities shed light on what transpired at Vendrien's Well, and the chaos of the tiers, then we trust your judgment.
Like, he's going to hate that, I assume. But the thing is, I don't understand how he could not have guessed that I've betrayed Kairos already, so let's risk it. I suspect that the Tiersmen can govern themselves better than even Kairos. That's like literal treason in spoken form.
That is a bold claim, but I can tell that you stand ready to defend it. Even though I cannot thank you for such a damning remark. The court appreciates your honesty. You have spent some time on your own recognizance. The efforts of our military and the challenges they face should be no mystery to you. Tell me, are you any closer to determining which of the Archons is at fault for the troubles of this campaign?
I don't have sufficient information to make an informed accusation.
Come now. Your decision does not bind you to an accusation at this time. I only wish to know if you have had success uncovering any evidence of misdeed or malfeasance. If you believe either of the Archons has acted in a manner not befitting their station, give voice to it.
Well, I would prefer an option to accuse them both, but there does not exist one. I have not found enough evidence on either. I do not feel comfortable making an accusation at this time.
Perhaps this court has placed too much faith in you, Fatebinder. Or maybe you have been given too much leeway based on your station. I am disappointed that you have not yet found enough evidence to even suggest which of the Archons might be responsible. I will allow you to continue your investigation, but I suggest you be more vigilant in your duties. I look forward to receiving your full report. I will summon you again at the appropriate time. If there's nothing further, you're dismissed.
I have some questions first. Well, apparently I do not, actually. Be on your way.
On it.
You unfurl the missive to see a reply from earlier. Whether the original sender is lost or dead is unknown, but what is clear is that the carrier bird that first delivered word from this sage L was unable to find its original sender, so it has circled back to you with your undelivered missive. Fatebinder, you wound us. Have we ever needed an incentive beyond violence and chaos? If we have an ulterior motive, it is merely to see what Verse does with our gift. She is well practiced in both of those quantities, and we take incredible pleasure in observing the development. Set aside your paranoia and share in our delight. On the subject of Spires, this is the sort of question that can get you killed. Very little is known about how Archons are born or come to power, and my long life has taught me that Kairos and the Archons prefer it this way. If the young and talented remain forever in the dark, the old and mighty can rule without challenge. I've heard of Ashe. He will always be merely Ashe to me. Before Kairos renamed him and gave his legion the backhanded title as a rebel, a grimy, illiterate partisan who was winning battle while his countrymen of the northern kingdoms lost left and right. Ashe was always a good leader, but he wasn't born able to mystically reach out and protect his soldier. The earliest mention of this isn't even until the tail end of the northern conquest, and if you read the journals, they don't tell stories of grievous harm warded off by Ashe's stern looks. Instead, they talk about soldiers finding their fears and doubts lifted from them by Ashe's presence. A careful reading suggests the ability to actively protect from physical harm came years later, as the bond grew and, more importantly, as his legend grew. The legend is part of the key detail. In my understanding, an Archon's power is something of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The widespread perception of an Archon's power is the very thing that strengthens the Archon's power, so in Ashe's case, he had some early inkling of power, the ability to assuage the burdens of his men, and he took up the mantle of power and became known all around Terratus as the next Archon of War, and it soon became the ability to bear physical burdens for his men, not just their fears and doubts. Thus my advice to you is to act like an Archon. Take the power where you can find it, foster fear, foster love. Never walk life anonymously, but rather live in the thoughts of your followers and the anxieties of your enemies. Your wisdom on this matter is greatly appreciated. You made mention of Bledenmark and his killings. During my training, Fatebinder Kallio hinted that much of Bledenmark's work involves killing off targets before they blossom into genuine problems, so I'm curious to hear you second that fact. So let's say for the sake of argument I am some Archon. Is it just a matter of time until Bledenmark is sent to kill me? Should I be making some grand display of loyalty to the court? to assuage suspicion. A question of balance. Fatebinder, so many... oh. Wait, is that new? So many interesting stories have begun to circle around you that you have locked blades with madmen, overcame holding swarms of Magebane, and even, despite the strictures of the Overlord, claimed artifacts from the shadowed depths of the old walls. You seem to woo attention with the ardency of a newlywed. I try to avoid attracting too many stories myself, but far be it from me to tell you how to pursue your objectives. I hope you will soon make an effort to join us at the court. I often feel that it has been too long since we last whispered of the dark corners of Terratus. You've experienced so many of them as of late. Perhaps I can provide illumination. Is that new? Do you want to talk now? Regards. You look as if you need something. Kallio tips her head to the side, a glimmer of curiosity in her dark, discerning eyes. You wrote you could illuminate the dark corners of Terratus. She glances at your cadre. In a private missive, yes. These are things that I will not discuss within the hearing of outside ears. Well, I need to speak to the Fatebinder privately. As if I had any interest in all of that gossip. Pardon me while I find an actual conversation to engage in. Perhaps on the inadequacies of the livery in which the adjudicator garbs his puffed-up jesters. She stalks off. Suit yourself. She moves lightly away. Footsteps soundless on the marble floor. Human who smells of alpha means beast woman? She scratches her head. Beast woman which will edge lurk, will wait for humans to finish secret words. Her hands fall to the floor as she pads to the periphery. A sly smile dimples her left cheek. I confess to no small amount of curiosity. I peek into my share of shadows, and sometimes I scrounge up a secret. What excites your interest? I thought it might be interesting to talk of matters arcane. And you came to me? Don't let the Fatebinder of lore know. He'll never forgive you. What answers do you seek? What exactly are the Bane? You're as experienced with them now as almost anyone. Nobody's certain where they came from or why. We know that they are attracted to magic, but also weak to it. They tend to congregate in the old walls, but whether they go there seeking arcane power, or they come from there, that's something that only the Overlord knows. I personally believe that they live there, happy as a beast in blood, until something disturbs them, like wasps in a hive. What can you tell me about the Spires? You've awakened the Spire. Look out from its height across the tiers below. I would think you could tell me more about them than the converse. I suppose I can tell you that they exist across the whole of the Overlord's dominion, dozens of them jutting up from the lands and grasping at the sky. They can certainly be toppled. They are a handful of ruined spires in the Empire. Terratus has changed since they were constructed. Some spires have been swallowed by mountains, others by seas. There's one sticking out of the water of the coast of the islands, due north of here. I hope to see it someday. I wanted to pick your brain regarding lore historical. I can't claim to be a greater expert than Fatebinder Rogalus, but I'll happily offer my perspective. What do you think? Who do you think built the old walls? The Overlord, obviously. She grins widely, but without teeth. Then she shakes her head. Does it matter? They are gone and we are not. Surely it would be interesting to know if we ever find out. And if you ever find out, I'll hope you tell me. But aren't there enough things here and now to concern yourself over? What have you learned about the tiers? That they are a tad airy and a bit rocky, but you know that firsthand. She smiles. As for the history of the region, it's a peninsula isolated from the continent mainland by the seas on three sides and the mountains to the north, named for the geological strata that separates each region like a series of steps from the Bastion tier in the north to Stalwart and then the sea in the south. Those formations, in conjunction with the things like mountain ranges that cradle apex, allowed for a number of culturally similar nation-states to form after humans first moved here centuries ago. Over time, some of the larger cities broke off from their kingdoms, defending themselves against the nobility's attempts to reclaim them. For the most part, it was chaos. Every family warred against the neighbor over anything they could disagree on: land, family, honor, superstition, the best color, the shiniest fish. She shakes her head. Not to mention the ridiculous beliefs about magic or the cultural roles of men and women. A sigh escapes her lungs as she rubs the bridge of her nose between forefinger and thumb. Have you ever met Fatebinder Mayothis? That old loon, her eyes flicker to Tunon, then to Rogalus, and finally settle on you. Sure, she's read an edict maybe too, in her time. Left her a bit rattled, I think. She's largely retired from active service, resting on the accomplishment past while ensconced in wealth that you can only accrue as an agent of the court. Guess I half assumed she died already, but she was dispensing justice back in the last conquest, so she must be over 100 by now. She slips into silence, considering. I wanted to ask about the rest of Terratus. I've done more than my share of traveling in my role as Tunon's agent. What would you like to know? What can you tell me of the lands beyond the tiers? Well, across the isthmus to the north of the Gate of Judgments, you will find the Northern Empire, which is large enough to be the Middle Empire to some, but there's no accounting for how borders expand over time. From the Northern Empire, there's Cardinals to the east, the Echolands and the Remani Protectorate to the south. But I've never journeyed far beyond that. Maybe sometime before I'll die, I'll see the lands far east, where Kairos was born. However, I doubt my service to Tunon will ever allow me the luxury of traveling for a few years just to see Terratus. I'd like to discuss the Archons and their forces. Entirely understandable given the circumstances. How can I enlighten you? What? There's literally no questions. That's a bit stupid. That's all I wanted to know for now. Feel free to return if you have further inquiries during your course of your little tour around the tiers.
I got it.
Okay, I'll go and meet with the sage. Crouched in the southern mountains of the Bastion tier, these ruins are all that remains of a fortified estate that ended perfectly positioned to serve as a second line of defense for the tiers if the fourth threshold fell. It might have held for spans had it not been for the arcane might of the Archon of Stone.
Sorry, I can't. Sorry, I can't.
Ash really had you wreck this place, didn't he?
Though this may have once been the entrance to what passes for a grand estate in the tiers, little remains of it now save shattered ruins.
Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. Sorry. I can't.
And the crimson-clad gang before you has yet to notice your presence. Their focus rests solely on the balcony above, where a broad-shouldered man in battle-worn armor shouts down at them. Who goes there? Who goes there? You know who we are, boss. Apologies, stranger. He puts a hand to his brow as if shading his sight. I can't make you out from the distance, and I hardly know the voice of every child in the tiers. The gentle babble of laughter filters down from above. Oh, wonderful, rolls the so-called butcher. You know him? Unfortunately, I thought he died in the taking of the bastard city. Perhaps that was wishful thinking. Wonder how he found his way, found this many wayward fools to follow him. Child, for fuck's sake, Rolls, let us in already. I'm sorry, is that you, Warbler? With your pretty voice, I mistook you for a little girl. Yes, boss, it is I, Warbler, and our faithful crew. We've returned from a successful raid, catch in hand. What's that? You're here to raid us? Hear that? Javelins, take aim. What? Fine. If you're in a mood and want to play stupid games, we'll just divide the spoils without you. Oh, Warbler, we were having such good fun with you. Why did you have to make things so serious? There are a few things we never joke about in the gang, like sharing. Are you shitting me? What's that you say? You want me to shit on you? That doesn't seem very clean, Warbler, but if that's what you want. Another round of laughter from the other chorusman. Everyone here thinks this is really funny, boss, but we would rather sit by the fire and have a decent meal. I don't think you're getting in here, or were you planning on taking the fort from us? What? Don't put words in my mouth, you shallow sack of a cockcheese. I can talk however I want, and if you can't take it, you aren't tough enough to run with our gang. In fact, I think we're overdue for a display of your worth. Test of our worth? We just spent several days sacking the countryside for you. Now let us in already. I don't recall ordering a raid. No doubt you've been recruiting your own gang and are here to defy me. You're mutinians here. Mutiny? I've been loyal, and my crew has been loyal. How dare you? Then who are your reinforcements? Rhodes points a finger at you. Or did you let the enemy shadow you back home? Either way, wrong move. Huh? He looks back at you, eyes widening. Where did you come from? It's the Fatebinder of Tunon, you idiot. You know, the master of the mountain spire. His attention focuses entirely on you. Though I'm curious, if Warbler didn't come crying to you, what brings you out here? Well, it was fate binding. Ha, this must be the legendary Fatebinder's sense of humor. Look, I'm more than happy to help you with whatever task the Archon got you doing, but first I need your help dealing with those idiots down there. He points at the balcony at Warbler and his gang. A legend like you won't break a sweat calling them. Are you fucking kidding me? I've broken no law, just done what my boss told me. Stow it. The only meaningful law in the chorus is not suffering the weak, and you are weak. The Fatebinder here is just going to thin the herd a bit, ain't you? No, work it among yourselves. If you're not going to help, at least stay out of our way. Run alone. Like, if you don't want to fight me, I don't particularly want
I can't.
to kill you. I kind of despise the chorus as a whole, but I recognize that many of them, especially the lower ranking members, were essentially forced into this. So if they don't want to fight, I won't kill them.
Will do. Sorry, I can't.
Resting his hand near his blade, Warbler offers a wary smile. So I don't suppose you could not... You could, like, not kill me? Fatebinder, you're back. I hope you're going to show these paps what real blade work looks like from the inside. What does that even mean? It means you're going to get stabbed, you beast-funding flea brothel. Well, I'd rather not get in the middle of your dispute. Lower the ramp and let's talk. And let them follow you up? No way. Lower the ramp, or when I get up there, I'm going to show you your own intestines. I'm up here and you're down there. I've heard a lot of stories about you, Fatebinder, but the ability to sprout wings and fly was not one of them. And how do you think I got to the top of the spire? You know, I hadn't thought about it. He shakes away the thought. Come on, Fatebinder, kill the kid and give us a show. No. I am going to find another way.
Can't do that.
Up there. Yeah, I can destroy a wall here, seemingly. Or climb it, because it's like it's another level, right? Or is it a wall and this is the other side of a wall? Either way, I can climb over or on it. It's a bit unclear to me in 2D. Oh no. A group of unkempt, filthy commoners huddle among a motley of barrels and boxes. A heavy stench of sweat, stale food and grass cling to the still air. The presumptive leader stands as you enter and moves towards you, weapon in hand. The approaching woman's olive cheeks seem drawn and sallow. Dark circles shadow the eyes that survey you before searching over your shoulder, seemingly reassured by her brief inspection. She lowers her weapon slightly so that it's not pointed directly at your chest. Her muscles remain taut, however, her stance that of a veteran soldier ready to respond at the first sign of aggression. You didn't bring the chorus in with you, and if you were disfavored, you would have loudly bragged about your pedigree already, so that leaves me wondering, who are you? I am Stannis Javert of the Mountain Spire. Truly, you're the one who awoke the Spire. Well, I don't know what brings you out this way, but we could use some people with your power, if you don't mind getting chorus blood on your hands. You still haven't told me who you are. She blinks rapidly. Right, I haven't. The name's Gwyneth. I am the guide for this little band. Used to be more of us, used to be mercenary, but no one's offering coin for a blade anymore. If you weren't born north of the Gates of Judgment, there is nothing for a warrior save cloth of crimson or a masked grave. Red or dead, as they say. She sighs. So I stop worrying, more or less. What do you want exactly? We need to get back inside the mountain. We had come out. She falls silent for a moment, and light shudder runs through her. We had come out to scavenge for supplies. When we got back, we found crimson assholes crawling all over the place. You live in a cave. Well, it wasn't our first choice of homes, but we've taken shelter in a nearby cave. While we're looking out for supplies, these chorus goons somehow buried the cave entrance with rubble. We could excavate a path, but not with chorus spears prodding our rears while we dig. help us be rid of those scarlet shit stains, and we'll scrounge up some appropriate response. I'll see what I can do. Thank you. Let us know when the gang is no longer a threat. Okay, I will climb over this, but I will do it next time, because this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!